Morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday, the 26th day of February 2024. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope your family had a good weekend, that you and your family are safe and healthy, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field who, along with the first responders, are every day saving lives, sometimes at the risk of their own. And those that pick up garbage for us to keep our places clean. And those that make deliveries for our convenience of food, water, mail, and other things, people, and other things also. Blessings, double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children who are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People who are also victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators of these things. Double curses upon those who profit from these things. And double curses on the perverts that create the demand for this industry. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and children, increasingly senior citizens, homeless in the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. Tonight, there's a basketball game scheduled. The New York Knicks are scheduled to take on the Detroit Pistons in the first game of a back-to-back. Tonight's Detroit, tomorrow is New Orleans. Now, tonight we'll see our former friend. It's so weird seeing Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly, R.J. Barrett, and now Quentin Grimes in uniforms that are not New York Knicks uniforms. It is so strange. And apparently, as I look back over the 4-year situation, the Knicks did develop these players and then parlayed them into parts ready to win now. Kept the ones that can help them win now, in their view. And so you still have Mitchell Robinson, you still have Deuce McBride, you still have Jericho Sims. And then you still have Juju, who was signed before Thibs as a free agent, and you still have that. And then you added Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, the triplets and of course Jalen Brunson, triplets from Villanova. Then you added OG Anunoby and Precious Achua, and now you have Bodega 44, otherwise known as Bogdan Bogdanovich, and Alec Burks. So you have now a team ready to compete now using the players you drafted and developed earlier. And you still have a few of your draft development pieces here. Speaking of which, tonight against Detroit, of course, you can't take anybody in the league lightly, right? So the Knicks know that. You got to come in here ready to play. But it is clear that the Knicks are the better team in terms of Detroit versus the Knicks. The Knicks are a superior team. They have to prove that in the court, of course. Now, we have some recent news in terms of Ju, OG, and Mitch Rob. So Juju was on the court. They were showing Friday and Saturday on the court working out. And especially the Saturday night before the game they had Saturday night against the Celtics, he was out there building up a good sweat, shooting the ball, running. And when he looked on the sideline, he looked tired, but he also looked like his shoulder was doing okay. So I'm still looking at a March 8th return for Juju. Then we got update on OG that this week they're going to reevaluate him. And the expectation is he'll hit the court soon after that. So again, I'm going to keep a March 8th return on OG Anunoby as well. So right now, what we have noticed in the games without OG, is Tom using different combinations that he might be able to use later. Also, speaking of that, now you have Mitchell Robinson, who's out of the walking boot, who's going to be doing some running, who's going to be doing some jumping, who's going to be doing some shooting. He's doing the shooting now. He's on the court. And weightlifting, of course. And so I'm still expecting him to be back, let's say between March the 8th and March the 15th, so that we have the whole band back by March 15th. Now, speaking of, like I mentioned just a few seconds ago, updating the other things that has to be fixed on the Knicks. Burks and Bodega 44 have both been weak on defense. Both. Negative. Overall plus minus. Bodega did his 6 threes against Philly. Yes, he's capable of doing that. But then again, so was Softy Frenchie before we traded him. Okay, so the consistency on defense is more important. In the last couple of games, actually it started in the Orlando game. Bodega was not available, but you started to see Tom use Deuce more. Again, 48 minutes are allocated at each position on the floor, a total of 240 minutes for the five-man team for the game. In 48 minutes at the point guard position, generally you get Jalen Brunson, and then whatever minutes Brunson rests, Deuce plays. Okay? So again, if Jalen Brunson played 40 minutes, Deuce is going to play 8. If Jalen Brunson played 30 minutes, Deuce is going to play 18. But the last game was something a little different. Jalen Brunson played like 36 minutes. Deuce played 16. Jalen played 37. Deuce played 16 or 17 minutes, which means that Deuce played minutes at point guard, and then he played minutes beside, next to Jalen Brunson. Tom went with that because not only yet last Saturday night, not only against Philly when Maxey was starting to go off, you know that Deuce locks down players that he needs to lock down, and for the most part, except for TJ McConnell. But aside from that, he locked down everybody else, and then now he's starting to be more efficient on the offensive end of the floor, more consistent and efficient with his three-point shot, going to the basket, taking advantage of what the defense gives him, as Tom is always preaching. Deuce is a Tom Thibodeau type of player, a clone of him. And so that's why you're starting to see more of that. So I expect now, you might think that, Tom is going to play Bodega 44 and Burks a whole bunch of minutes because they just came from Detroit. But y'all should understand, Tom don't really go for that. He's trying to win this game. So I would like to see, hope to see more of the Brunson Deuce combination as almost like a scrimmage, a practice, a scouting situation, so we can be ready. So when the rest of our band gets back, we move forward. Because as I mentioned yesterday, if you could just imagine Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa, Josh Hart, and Deuce McBride in your second unit, and you add to that, because Tom likes to play a starter with the second unit, so you add to that OG Anunoby. So now you have Mitch Rob, OG, and Precious along the front line. Then you got Deuce and Hart. That's, first of all, a defensive nightmare for anybody. Okay? Then, as Hart is a decent shooter, Deuce is now becoming a good shooter, shooting 40% from three. You got OG, you got Mitch Rob, and you got Precious. Now, Precious got to get some more consistency in his confidence. It's not in his physical talent. It's confidence. He lost confidence Saturday night. I don't know why, but he came out the gate without being confident. We need him to be more confident, because when he is, we've seen what he could do. So that is a hellified second unit. Also, Tom could run Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa, Josh Hart, Deuce McBride, and Jalen Brunson. So now you have the footwork master in Jalen Brunson. You got the defensive specialist in Deuce, Josh Hart, and you got Mitch Rob and Precious. Yeah, the second unit is in lots of times going to be the key to the Knicks advancing in the playoffs. Everybody knows about starters, right? So Boston got Porzingis, they got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they got Jrue Holiday, and of course they got White. So they got 4 all-stars in their starting unit, okay? But the key to Boston advancing is the bench. See, all-stars could play a lot of minutes, but at the end of the season, and they will, but they get tired, and they got to rest. Who's coming in behind them? And that's where the Knicks will have an advantage, especially when you put Mitch Rob in the unit with Deuce, Hart, and Precious. You have an advantage. I cannot see, and I don't know how Tom's going to do it, add Burks and Bodega 44 to the bench. They are weaknesses defensively. And so that's why I want to see games like tonight, where you're going to see all of them play, but I want to see what Tom does down the stretch, what combinations he uses, because that's telling you what he's going to do in the near future, like by March the 8th. So then we got a back-to-back on top of it. So you want, you're going to have to use all of these guys, all 7 of them, or wait, now you got We got the starting five. You got Bodega, you got Burks, you got Deuce, and you got Precious. Plus you got Sims. So you're gonna have to use, you're gonna have to use many healthy bodies as you can. In tonight and tomorrow. So I expect Sims to get some minutes as well. So we'll hopefully see all of that and see what Thibs uses down the stretch of these games to get the W, because that's what he wants to do. Above all things, Tom Thibodeau wants to win. He doesn't want to play my favorite player. He doesn't want to play your favorite player. He don't care about NBA 2K. What he cares about is getting this next win. The Knicks right now are a full game up on Philly, and they're a game and a half behind Milwaukee in the playoff race. They're solidly fourth seed. We're trying to push for that third seed. I think we can get there once I get all the band back. So tonight, he's going for his 35th win, period. End of story. He's not even thinking about tomorrow. Tonight, he's going for his 35th win. That's what he's trying to do. So in trying to win, he's going to play the combinations he thinks can help him do that. And we're going to see what they are tonight. Please enjoy the game. Be safe out there. Shalom.